Hi there, students. I had a question from Navanitha about what's the difference between culture, tradition, and heritage. So these three words, they're all closely linked. Let's see. I think culture is the art, the custom, the lifestyle, the habits, the different methods of artistic expression, the beliefs, the values, and the behavior of a particular way of life. Yeah, so you could say British culture, yeah, American culture, Caribbean culture. Okay, these are the conventional ways of acting, the conventional ideologies of a community. Yeah, it's the accepted system of norms, the accepted values that are within that society. Okay, a tradition. This is something that was done in the past. It's like culture from the past, and it's the passing down of different pieces of a culture from generation to generation. Yeah, I'm a big fan of stories from the oral tradition. Yeah, so it means these stories were handed from generation to generation to generation. They've been handed down. Yeah, and these are what came before our present culture. And much of that tradition is still in our present culture, or it's has an effect on the culture that we have today. Yeah. So it's something from the past that has been repeated again and again. It's something that people always they repeat. And then heritage. Heritage are is particular characteristics, particular features that belong to a society, particularly traditions or buildings or places or events that happened in the past or were created in the past, but they still have historical importance. So, cultural heritage. This building is part of the cultural heritage of the country. So, yeah, clearly the Houses of Parliament, the building, is part of the cultural heritage. Yeah. But heritage, it doesn't just have to be a building. Yeah. These are traditions and things in the past that are still have an important place in our history, something that we recognize was very formative. So a tradition is something that people do again and again and again. Whereas something that is heritage is something that was traditional, but is important and has a very important role within the culture. So, for example, this area has been designated as a World Heritage Site. Yeah, it's something that is important and needs to be handed down to future generations. Okay, so culture, the ideas, the customs, the social behavior of a particular group of people. So, I don't know, yeah, Australian Aboriginal culture, for example. Okay, so this it's talking about a civilization, a society, a lifestyle. Yeah, the culture is a mixture of the present customs, the traditions that have been kept, and perhaps a respect for the heritage from the past. A tradition. It's a custom that has existed for a long time. It's something that's handed down over generation to generation, and it's something that's done repeatedly. Yeah. So, their family has a tradition of being healers and doctors. It's part of the family tradition. And then heritage is something important from the past. Um, Something like a tradition or a quality or a feature or a building or a date or an event um, that is important and has been passed down from one generation to another. Normally, a tradition is something that you do, whereas heritage can be an object. It has a wider concept. Yeah. So I guess rock and roll has its heritage or in African music. That's where its heritage comes from. Yeah, but I'm not so sure that rock and roll has an African music tradition. Maybe. Well, we'll see. Okay, so firstly, formality. Culture, 5 informality, use anywhere. Tradition, 5 informality, use anywhere. Heritage, a little bit more, maybe 5.5 or even a 6, but use it anywhere again. And then, as to origin, well, culture comes from cultura, French, in Latin, cultus, yeah, to cultivate, to worship, yeah. Let's see, tradition comes from Latin, traditio, tradition, traditus, from tradere, to hand over, to deliver, to entrust. And then finally, the word heritage. Let's see, this one comes from, I'm pretty sure this one comes from Latin as well. Sorry, bear with me a second. Yeah, I've got this wrong now. So, well, bear with me one second. Let me just check because I'm not always clear on these heritage. Okay, yes, there we go. It comes from Latin, yeah, through French, héritage, from heres in Latin, uh, mi- which I think means an heir. Yeah, so heres, heir, very definitely. Which itself comes from a Proto-Indo-European root, gehet, meaning derelict or to leave behind, to abandon. So there we go. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Culture, heritage, and tradition.